figure out whether you're updating or whether you're going to sell it as is, you need to know who the likely buyer is of the house. In our area, there's a lot of new construction. There are people buying the houses just for the land. And so in order to determine who the likely buyer is, and therefore whether you should update or whether you should sell as is, we need to know what your house looks like now and the price range that it would be in and who the likely buyer is. So the next step would be to figure out who's the likely buyer of your house. And how do we do that? Well, we have to look at the location. We have to look at, is there a lot of new construction in the neighborhood? We have to look at the topography of the land, and we have to look at the overall condition of the property the way it is right now. In other words, is it been recently updated with a bunch of things and we just need to finish it off by having a few more things done, because the likely buyer is going to be somebody that wants to buy the house to live in it? Or is there not much updating that's been done over time, and therefore the house would need major renovation in order to put it in perfect condition to sell, and then the likely buyer is someone that wants to buy it as is, either to do a renovation themselves or possibly even build a new home. So if we determine that your house is better to update and therefore do either small or large updates to the house to sell to a buyer that wants to buy the house to live in the home versus a buyer that wants to buy it for the land or to do a heavy renovation of their own, then we need to look at what do you need to update. And obviously, if you haven't renovated a kitchen in a long time, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to tear the whole kitchen out. There are things you can do to make it look updated without replacing the whole kitchen. Similar thing with baths. So we would go and look at comparables in the neighborhood, see what they sold for, what the condition of that property is, and then once we know the condition that we're competing with, then we can make the suggestions of your money would be well spent if you updated this bathroom, or if you updated the kitchen and the bathroom, or you just replaced the countertops in the kitchen, things like that. Generally, in our marketplace, you would have people really care the most about their kitchen, family room area, and then the master bedroom. And of course, numbers of beds and bathrooms. But as far as updates, anything that you might need to do would generally center around how can I improve the look or feel of the kitchen, and how can I improve the look and feel of the master bedroom, bathroom area. And those are two key areas that you'd want to make sure, if you're spending money to update, that those are addressed. On the other hand, if you're selling your house as is, then it's a much simpler transaction. You don't have to spend money to get your house ready to go on the market, which might involve moving out or organizing a lot of contractors, which takes more time. So that's attractive to people to sell as is, because then they know there may be a home inspection, but you're announcing up front that you're not going to fix anything. So an as-is sale can be a lot less time and a lot less moving parts to get your house on the market. And then once it goes under contract, you already know that you're not going to have to fix anything else. So yes, the price has to reflect an as-is sale, but it's very often a good route to go in our marketplace, because people are willing to buy that way, and it makes the transaction a lot easier for you. So maybe your home is already updated and you just need to know, what do I need to do to get this house ready for the market? Or maybe you've determined that it's not going to be cost effective to do renovations as far as updating bathrooms and kitchens, but they're still, for any seller, whether you're doing updates or not, if you're selling to somebody that wants to live in the home versus buy it just for the property or the land, then there are a few simple things that anyone can do that doesn't cost a lot of money to put your house on the market. And the first is curb appeal. When people first get to your house, anything you can do to spruce up the yard and the appeal coming up to or even entering the house is very important. And then once you're in the house, if there's a little bit of painting that can be done so that the rooms are more uniform, The number one biggest thing that I tell people is to make sure that you have more closet space. Make sure that your closets aren't full and that you open the closet and you have more space. And the reason for that is that people come in and if they see very full closets, every closet that they open when they're viewing the house, they think, oh, these people must be moving because they don't have enough room. They don't have enough storage. So that's a very important, very simple thing to do. Maybe you have to put things in storage to do that, but I say have as little things in the room as possible so the room looks as big as it can be, and make sure that your closets and your storage areas aren't jam full. So most people, if they're trying to decide whether they update or whether they sell as is, the biggest question that they have is, well, how can I maximize the profit or how much I can sell my house for? And the way if you're going to update, a pro is you basically look at it and you say, well, if you do this update and that update, it's going to cost this much money and you can sell your house for this. If you can see yourself selling it for more by doing that, then obviously it's worth updating and you should do that if you have the funds available to do it and you have the time, and don't need to sell really quickly. The pros of selling as is would be ease of transaction. If you look at the numbers and say, you know what, I could sell for this much if I sell it as is, and any money that I put into the house, I'm just going to get that back, or I may not even get that back, then that's a pro for going in the direction of selling as is. But there's the as is makes it a much easier, simpler. You can get it on the market quick, and you can pretty much know that things will run smoothly, but you don't have to fix anything. If you update, you will appeal to a bigger marketplace, quite honestly. So if it makes sense to put money into your house and update it or improve the house to put it on the market because you're going to get more money for the house, then most people will go in that direction. So what's the next step? The next step is to figure out if you're selling as is or updating. And how are you going to do that? Well, you need to have a professional, somebody that does that every day, that sees houses and knows what improvements that you need to make. So I hope you call me and let me come over and help you figure out whether you need to update or whether it's best for you to sell as is. Thank you for watching this segment of Tom's Tips, and I hope you found it helpful. To contact me or for more videos like this, click on the link in the description below. Happy selling!